Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And in today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the new ability within Splinterlands, the weapon training ability, and how this could perhaps have some interesting meta impacts, specifically around some duos, some combinations of tanks and support monsters, and what this could mean moving forward for the meta. Now, we recorded this video on Saturday on Splinterlands TV talking about this topic, and I know since then we have just had released today the MAV test server with all of the new Soulbound reward card concepts for player testing. So we'll have a follow-up video talking more about those cards, but this was again presented a couple days ago before we had insight to some of those weapons training cards and the other non-attack cards. But hopefully you'll enjoy this video because I think regardless of the new cards, the existing wild and modern cards here will be playing definitely a piece of this meta changing puzzle. So until next time, keep stacking those stats. Let's talk about weapons training duos, and might we see a new meta inbound here? And for those who aren't aware, one of the new abilities that are coming with the Soulbound reward cards is the weapons training ability. And here's the details for weapons training here on the PeakD article. And basically the weapons training is going to give a character next to the weapons training card the attack type if they are a monster that has no attack. So basically it's going to be nice because they're going to be Soulbound reward cards that give melee attack, ranged attack, or magic attack with weapons training to cards like Pelacor Conjurer or Bakjira, cards that have no attack traditionally. Now this is a really kind of meta-changing ability in my mind because it's going to make certain support cards and tanks super valuable as long as that weapons training card stays upright. Now, a couple things to note. Certain attack types are going to be more valuable than others. What you can imagine, for example, is a no attack tank like an Almo or a Bakjira in the 1 position, a card with weapons training in the 2 position, and then another card, support card, in the 3 position with no attack type, something like a Kelp Initiate or something similar that is a support card that does support abilities to the tank or to the team. So now the weapons training will give its attack type to both the 1 and 3 card, which normally does no damage. So that really gives you value for your mana. Now, the thing to be aware of is the attack types will have different values. For example, the most desirable weapons training card will be a magic attack card because it will allow the card in the 1 position and the 3 position to attack every turn. If you have a melee based card, I think in my mind that is the least valuable weapons training card because it only allows the 1st position card to have an attack, and the support card in the 3 position will really have no advantage of a melee attack unless the rule set allows for it, like Melee Mayhem, Super Sneak, or Equal Opportunity. Now, the ranged attack may be more effective because it allows a support card to attack not only while the tank is in place in the 1 position, but if the tank dies and the weapons training card goes to the front, the weapons training card in the 3 position with no attack will still be able to continue to attack with a ranged attack. So again, with the melee attack in the 2 position for the weapons training card, the number 2 and the number 3 position can attack, where a ranged attack in the 2 position and 3 position can attack to start the battle. So that's kind of the value. I would say magic weapons training attack greater, than ranged weapons training attack greater than melee weapons training attack, unless it's one of those 3 rule sets. Now, certain summoners will provide value, like Possibilis with the reach ability will provide value to a melee weapons training card, and a Fernheart with close range will provide additional value to a ranged attack weapons training card. The other thing to be aware of is Oppress does double damage still to cards with no attack, even with weapon training on them. And now Dispel will be able to clear the ability of weapons training. So keep that in mind, that that attack can be removed. Now, let's talk about the meta combinations, or again, these meta duos or these weapons training duos that could see increased play in the new meta with these soulbound reward cards being introduced. Now, I just want to, before I unveil some of these cards, before you go off and kind of ape into buying cards or things on the market for speculation purposes, don't necessarily do that, because also remember that with the soulbound reward cards, the team is going to be releasing a number of cards that also probably have no attack. So there'll be new cards in addition to these cards that will create some new weapon training duos as well. But let's see some ideas here that we can think would be valuable moving forward based on splinters. So let's start in the top left here. If we have Almo Cambio in the first position with a fire team, a weapons training card in the second position, and Venari Heatsmith in the third position, let's assume for all of these scenarios, we're using a magic damage weapons training card. Basically, Almo Cambio is going to be able to attack with magic damage. It's going to get the benefit of the Amplify from the Heatsmith, and it's going to return fire, magic reflect, at least at the highest levels, and have phase with high speed. So this becomes not only normally a great kind of 1-2 punch for fire without weapons training, now with weapons training, in theory, like with a magic weapons trainer, you have 2 more cards that can do additional damage to your opponent. So this is a nice combination to consider. Another fire combination to consider from a wild perspective is a Gelatinous Cube with a Scavo Chemist. Now again, why this 1-2-3 weapons training combo is nice is because the Scavo Chemist is going to provide a cleanse to the cube. It's going to be able to ideally attack along with the cube's attack, and you're going to get the additional support card benefits of a slow and a headwinds from the Chemist. So again, weapons training giving 2 cards that normally are just great tank and support cards, giving them attacks is a game changer. Now, another combination to consider is for life. In this case, we have for a wild format a Peaceful Giant and a Truth Speaker. The reason why this is so powerful is with a weapons training, again, if now the Peaceful Giant and the Truth Speaker are doing damage, let's say magic damage, the Peaceful Giant at max level has 17 health. Well, the Truth Speaker is going to be able to cleanse the Peaceful Giant, keep it clear of affliction, and it's going to be able to heal the Peaceful Giant for a ton of health every turn, and it's also going to provide protect for your entire team. So this is a great combination for life, as an example, that could be used very effectively and giving it additional offensive power with weapons training. If we go to water, a nice combination could be Bakjira coupled with a Kelp Initiate. Again, the Kelp Initiate's cleanse, keeping Bakjira's self-heal in play, and the triage supporting the rest of your team, while now these 2 cards could potentially also be doing damage. This is already a great 1-2 combo in the current meta. By adding weapons training, it just makes it that much better. Now, Failed Summoner and Epona for an Earth team makes an interesting combination. Again, you've got the Failed Summoner here, backed up with, if you have, for example, Queen Mycelia, a repair from Epona, as well as a strengthen for support ability. It's nice, it's 3 mana, it's super low mana efficient, and with weapon training could do some really nice damage as well for 3 mana combined. Now for life, this is an interesting combination. the Onyx Sentinel with the Warrior of Peace. And why is this combination exciting is because the Onyx Sentinel has Shield and Void, in addition to Thorns and Return Fire. But now with the Warrior of Peace, you're doing Demoralize and Headwinds, as well as Silence. So basically, it can make your opponent like possibly not even able to damage the Onyx Sentinel, depending on what, anything with 2 magic damage, 2 melee damage, or 2 range damage is not going to be able to touch the Onyx Sentinel now with Shield and all these debuffs from Warrior of Peace. In addition to that, any damage you do to Onyx Sentinel is going to have Thorns or Return Fire, and you're going to be doing damage with Weapons Training. So this is a really interesting combination. You could also sub in a wild format Lord A in here as well for 5 mana. That's probably, better with the Magic Reflect, but it doesn't really matter. The same combination effect is effective there with Lord A as well. Now, here, if we go to life, another fun combination is going to be Pelacor Conjurer with True Speaker. Similar to the Peaceful Giant play for life here. Basically, you're getting the Magic Reflect, you're getting the speed, the flight, the phase, all that good stuff with Pelacor Conjurer for 2 mana. It's got 8 health, so you can keep it cleansed with True Speaker, you can keep it healed with True Speaker, you can give it Protect along with the rest of your team. And you're getting damage now from the Pelacor Conjurer and the True Speaker, all for 5 mana plus the Weapons Training. So that's very exciting as well. Now this other combination with life here is using Dragon with life. It's actually pairing the Dragon Spirit with the Angel of Light. And why is this combination interesting? Well, the Dragon Spirit by itself is pretty decent. It's got 6 speed with flight, with 9 health, which is already really solid for a 3 mana tank. What the Angel of Light does is it provides a heal for that 9 health of the Dragon Spirit, which is great. It gives you an Inspire for your team, but it's going to give you 2 extra damage to your entire opponent's team with a Resurrect here. So when the Dragon Spirit dies the first time, it'll do a Redemption, do 1 damage to all of the opponent, and then when it dies the second time, another 1 damage to all of your opponents. So this Dragon Spirit could do 12 damage to your opponent's team with just the redemptions alone, not including the Weapons Training, and plus providing the role of a tank. So this is kind of an exciting combination with Weapons Training as well. Now for death, you can do something interesting here with Riftwing and Fallen Spectre. The Riftwing with 5 speed with flight and 8 health plus scavenge is already a decent tank. It's got some offensive capability there with a backfire as well. But with the Fallen Spectre, you're getting a double headwinds between the Riftwing and the Fallen Spectre, and you're getting a Demoralize on your opponent's team for debuffs, which is nice. But you're also getting a blind with the Fallen Spectre here. So you're getting a blind plus a backfire with 5 speed and flight. That's pretty nice. And now with Weapons Training, you're doing damage in addition to having a very effective tank and support card, all for 6 mana plus the Weapon Training card. Now this last one is also interesting. It is a dragon neutral combination, so it could be used with any splinter, and it is the Naga Brute with the Scavo Hireling. And this is pretty interesting because the Naga Brute has 9 armor and 7 health at max level with Thorns and Return Fire, and it's got Void Armor. So if you pair that with a Repair, that's a very annoying combination. The Scavo Hireling also has Slow, and now with Weapons Training, the Naga Brute and the Scavo Hireling are going to be able to do damage in addition to just being a kind of a tough combination to get through with that Void Armor. It's going to stop magic damage and range damage and archery damage, and if you hit it with, range damage or melee damage, you're going to get Thorns and a Return Fire. So that's a fun combination as well. Just what you're seeing with these Weapons Training Duos is not only are you getting a great tank and a great support card that are synergistic to be able to play the traditional tank and support roles, but now those cards are going to be able to do damage, which is key because these cards were already great cards for the mana cost without doing damage. And now if all of a sudden you can do damage in addition to their primary roles as tanks and support cards, well, that's going to be a game changer moving forward. So I think this is very exciting, something that if you don't have these cards today, you may want to look at, either potentially renting them in the future or picking them up on the market. These could be some fun combinations to use moving forward.